Welcome back to Cheema Connect. My name is Jamie. I'm joined by Jeff Frizzle. This is a part 2 of a 2-part series. If you watched the first episode, great. If you didn't, click pause and go find that link. Watch the first installment and then jump right back in. You know, a lot of folks say that sequels aren't always as good as the original. You know what I say to that? You ever seen The Empire Strikes Back?
Oh yeah.
Oh man, that's an amazing sequel. Anyhow, without further ado, let's get right back into it.
We had the opportunity this week to have the drivers ask us some questions here for this Cheema Connect. So we just have a few here we thought we'd want to talk about with the group and see what their thoughts were on it. So our first one, are there any plans to have any driver trainer opportunities that would come up?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's something that's definitely on the radar. We're breaking into 400 trucks, right? In 400 company trucks. We got a lot of owner operators I'm not counting. So as we do that, there's going to be opportunities for trainers and want to build kind of a Cheema Road team of selected drivers that can be used as mentors and some of those. So we got some things in the works. I wouldn't say it's going to happen in the next 90 days, but it's something that I would count on that we start at least initializing and developing sometime this year. We're already 6 months into it, right? So we have had a lot of big projects and softwares and terminals and some of those things going on. So, but it's definitely on the radar to happen pretty quickly. So I hope we can start getting the blueprint together and launching some of it, coming up this year. So
Good. And we've had a few drivers reach out to us about that. So just stay tuned, put your name in your hat with your driver manager and talk with our safety department. But
yeah,
sounds like that's coming down the road. So we're excited to add that to the mix.
That's great. That's great to hear that we got drivers that are interested in helping, helping others.
Future drivers.
Yeah,
yep,
exactly.
Absolutely.
So that's great. We need more drivers in this industry for sure.
So early April, we did a major systems upgrade, and there's continual work to make it better and better. And each week, I know that we are, but there's been some questions about how come I'm not getting all the information I needed for my load, pickup numbers, delivery numbers, and things. So you want to give an update on what we've been working on there?
Should I defer this to Harry?
Yeah, sure.
So Jamie has been working hard behind the scenes, along with our operations team and myself and even Jeff, and everybody's been working hard at making sure our new software goes, deployed as planned. It's a big deal. It's a big undertaking, and I'm glad we did it now before, versus at 1,000 trucks or something. I don't think it'd be really difficult to do that. So there's a lot of stuff going into play there, and obviously you've already seen the messages and the way those forms come across now, or the macros or whatever you want to call them. Already improved from day one, right? It was sending like 6 messages. Here's your directions again. Here's your route, and kind of those things. We've kind of got rid of all of that and summarized it a little bit more. So we're still working hard at it. We're gonna probably do some more updates here real soon and try to compress the data even more and just keep it where it's meat and potatoes, and you guys got the bulk of what you need, and you can request directions and some of those things as well. So before we move on that topic, I know we brought this up several times, but with our change, our drivers' settlement sheets have changed as well, right? And with that settlement sheet changing, it's a different look. We're not paying you any less. We're not paying you any of those things. Actually, our new system is paying you more accurate, correct miles than our old system. Our old system was paying PC miler, which is what we all do. Practical. We never pay short. We have the option. A lot of carriers do. They'll pay you household goods, short, bunch of these different, whatevers, and try to get away with ripping off 7, 8, 6 miles a load or whatever. But I've always made sure we're paying everybody practical miles with the latest PC miler version. And we're still doing that with our new system. It's enabling us to do zip to zip, which is a huge deal because Phoenix is massive. So our old system would pay you from city center to city center, which you might get 5 or 10 extra miles here, but it'll rip you off 5 or 10 miles over here. And so it was kind of okay, but this new system is going to be a lot more accurate to your true miles you're running. So that's a big deal.
That is a big deal. Absolutely. So you should notice that on your paycheck, and that, if you got questions about it, but I can tell you every week we're trying to do things to improve our communication out to our drivers and make it more efficient for our folks in the office. So
right. And with that, before I forget, those settlement sheets, your per diem looks a little bit differently as well, right? So for those drivers that are selecting to get per diem and have a portion of their pay being non-taxable per diem. It looks a little bit different. You're still getting paid the same amount. You're still getting all of those things. It's just breaking up a little bit differently. And so if you have questions, I would say I would recommend reaching out to Jamie and team, and they can run you by it, or bring it in and let's have your driver manager and Jamie sit down. And we can kind of show you what the sheet looks like. But at the end of the day, you can total your dollar amount divided by the total miles. You're still getting what you get paid.
Yep, that's a great point. And Jamie did a very nice post on Team Cheema Facebook about that and showed the examples of what to look for and how to better understand that, right?
Well, we got a pretty badass media team, so can we just deploy right here, right now? There you go.
There you go. All right, so since we're running more 11 Western states, we fuel with primarily one fuel vendor right now. Is there any plans to expand that at all?
Fueling other than Pilot? Mm-hmm. It's possible. Pilot's been a great partner for us for many years, and they always take care of us. And we just, as we continue to grow bigger, we are going to make sure we got the best deals for our drivers, the best truck stops. They've spent billions, I think $1 billion on improving their truck stops, and they're making a lot of new truck stops too. So a lot of new changes and all that. I know there's we've tried Loves in the past a little bit. They still may be an option for us down the road, but at this point, we're going to stick with Pilot Flying J. They've been, providing us the great discounts. We feel, pretty good about our partnership there. And but you never know. In the future, at the end of the day, it's what our drivers want and what's the most cost-effective business decision for our company. So as we continue to grow into different areas, it's definitely possible that we may end up doing that. I know we do. What's our favorite place with the franchise? The 1-9s.
Yeah, so the 1-9 stores, which would be your Easy Trips, and I don't know what the rest of them are.
Yeah, so the Easy Trips and those 1-9s that show up on your Pilot app, we're not going there because those are franchise stores and we don't get the same discount. You can still go there and use your points and use your showers and the facilities and all that, but we're not fueling there, and we shouldn't be fueling there. We still get drivers every week saying, "Hey, I'm at the 1-9, I need fuel," and
I get woken up probably 3 times a week at 2:30, 1 o'clock saying my fuel card's not working, and guess where they're at? They're at a 1-9 store.
Are they asking for a new truck at the same time?
Sometimes, I mean, I'm like...
Yeah, so no 1-9s. Pilot Flying J company stores only, please. And as far as new stops and all that, it's an opportunity. I'm not going to say no. It's something we'll definitely consider and look at as we continue to grow our fleet.
Also, if you have the Flying J app, you could actually filter out all the 1-9 stores, and it'll show you, where you guys could fuel, and you guys could actually do better trip planning that way.
Yeah, the only drivers that are allowed to go to the 1-9 is the one in Albany, and that's only for those Albany-based locals because they don't leave that area, and they're not able to go to a Pilot Flying J.
Gotcha. How about a question that came up about windshield fluid?
That's Harry's.
Defer to Harry. Can we buy windshield fluid when we need it?
It can be requested. I would like to say let's not, try to buy windshield washer fluid over the road. You need a couple extra gallons during the summer months or winter months. You could come and ask the shop. We buy it in bulk and save those jugs, and we'll refill them for you. I mean, you guys are by each terminal multiple times, right? So same thing goes for oil and coolant. So you end up using half a gallon of coolant. Well, next time you buy a shop or terminal, go ahead and get that half a gallon refilled so you have a full gallon, right? So
it's roughly 30 to 50% cheaper for us to buy in bulk than to buy the gallon. So that adds up quickly, and for us to continue to invest the money where we need to, which is our drivers and our equipment and some of these things, we want to make sure we're not wasting money on these little things, right? So I guess I can't buy that Rain-X I wanted. Huh? All right, too bad.
Well, it is, a penny's business, so we got to watch out for all of our costs, but appreciate the answer on that one. How about, there's a lot of technology these days on the tractors, the trailers, inside the cab, the engine, all the things that are monitoring right now. But a driver asked, is there any opportunities that backup cameras can be used for the trailers?
Boy, wouldn't that be cool, huh? We kind of use them in our cars and a little bit spoiled now, right?
Yep.
I rented a car a few weeks back and it didn't have a backup camera. And I'm like, oh man, I gotta look back and see where I'm going. So that's bad, right? That's bad for all of us. We'll probably forget how to back up without the cameras. But I've heard about it a few years ago. I don't know how successful they are, but something we'll take a look at. I don't know. It's the only problem is we have 3.89 times the trailers. We have 3.89 times the truck amount of trailers. So we roughly need like 4 cameras for every truck because that's how many trailers are behind, in our pool. So it'll be a lot of cameras to buy, 1,500 of them.
Okay. Do you guys think there's going to be some opportunities down the road for drivers to lease a truck and become an owner operator?
Yeah, I'm not going to say no. It's something we've talked about. It's something that we have, like I said, we talked about it and we have folks that are interested. At this moment, we don't have a leasing program, but never say never. Definitely won't be in California because if California is listening, we don't do that.
That's fair. That's fair. Here's an odd question, and I'll tie it together with the one right behind it, but why these days are there so many live loads and not as much drop and hook freight?
So we did some numbers on this just a little bit ago. We're still averaging roughly 65-70% drop and hook. Some a little bit more than that on the weeks we're busier. But it's because what I explained in the beginning of our show here. It's just we're having to take freight for customers and some brokers and stuff that we typically wouldn't be taking because of just the state of the economy, and maybe we don't have 6 of those drop and hook loads that we would have had today. We only have 3, so we have to take 3 loads from other places that maybe would have been preload and drop or drop and hook or whatever on one side of the load, but now we're having to take 3 different loads for whoever just to keep those trucks moving and keep those miles going. And guess what? Those loads probably don't pay the company well either, but we're just taking them to keep making sure we're moving and we're repositioning our equipment to our customer freight where we have freight. So
that's fair. That's fair. It's tough these days to find a good parking spot. Rest areas get full, truck stops get full. Is there any plans for Cheema to pay for parking?
As of right now, I would say no. We don't have any plans because that's a whole nother can of worms and maybe another person to manage that going forward. So, but I will say we have drop yards in a lot of places. So we've got drop yards in Phoenix Market in Tolleson. We've got a drop yard in Bloomington. We've got a drop yard in Bakersfield. We've got a drop yard in Fresno. Obviously we have our terminal in Lathrop. We got a drop yard up in Anderson by Reading. We got a drop yard in Medford. Drop yard in where else? Albany, our terminal there. We got one in Vancouver, Sumner. We got one in Salt Lake now. So wherever our major markets that we're going to, we're starting to make sure we have drop lots there for overnight parking or for just those drivers to have a drop and hook facility available for loads and repositioning and whatnot. So at this point, I don't think that's definitely not something that's on the agenda. But I know the country and everybody is definitely, it's in the talks finally, right?
Yes.
And hopefully we get some support from our government to provide better parking for our drivers.
Absolutely, yep. And that's been a topic for the ATA and of course local government to get that established, and it's something that's needed beyond Cheema. So we'll continue to work through that. So a good question came up about if I took a load, let's say from Sumner down to Phoenix, and I loaded up on Wednesday or Thursday, but didn't deliver till the weekend or the following Monday, my check wasn't quite as much as I was expecting. Would it be possible to submit my miles on Friday night?
So I did see this come across on multiple platforms. I definitely am 100% supportive of getting a more predictable and consistent paycheck and trying to get you those miles paid out on that trip for the miles you ran all the way to that cutoff, which is Friday or whatever, right? I just haven't found a good system. And if we go down that route and we figure that out, I need drivers, I need your help to tell me how to motivate the drivers that don't turn in their paperwork, because right now, if we start doing that, well, guess what? And they got paid for a majority of their load or whatever, they're probably not there's no motivation to get that paperwork in timely, and we need that POD, that proof of delivery, which is a bill of lading, signed or sticker or whatever, showing that it's been delivered from the receiver. We need that from y'all so we can bill the customer, and that's the only way we can get paid. So we have this problem with some of our hourly drivers that we pay on an hourly basis, not trip by trip, and we're just constantly chasing them for those PODs, and we absolutely need them. It's the only way we get paid. So I would encourage drivers, if you got feedback on how we can motivate and how we can control if we start paying you for all your miles you drove for that up to that Friday or whatever that cutoff is, then how can we make sure we get our PODs turned in more timely? So figure that out. I'm all ears, and we're willing to work with y'all. And if the solution is, well, just the drivers that don't turn them in, take them off of that. Well, that's we're adding another person to just manage that all day long. We need a better solution here.
Okay. And our final question. This one does come up here and there, but do we have any plans to turn up our truck speed?
That's one of my favorite questions, actually. As of right now, I would say no, right?
No.
I think we just got to do a better job at some of our pre-trips and stuff, and it goes back to just coming back to taking care of the truck, right? So if we're not taking care of our trucks, doing our pre-trips, post-trips, I don't think we could go 70 miles an hour if our steer tires have funny wear on them or some that, right? If you guys are not reporting those things and bringing it to the shop's attention.
Yeah, so let's get some instant improvement on the way our trucks are, the way you're doing your pre-trips and managing those things. And once again, I don't want to go on turn that driver's speed down if they're not doing this. No, we're not going to go down that road. So there may be potential down the road for this to happen. It's definitely never going to be 70. But maybe we add pass smart or some of those things, and maybe we reward the drivers that are doing a good job. There's a lot of drivers that are doing a great job, but there's also a lot of drivers that are not checking or not even opening the hood and some of those things. So, the funny thing we get is, why is all this technology being added to the truck? Why are these safety features? Why are this? Well, drivers, it's because a lot of drivers, not everybody, are getting lazier and lazier, and they're not checking their trucks. So companies are figuring out, we should add. There's a new thing I just looked at last week. Is it'll basically tell me on my computer screen all the trucks and their air pressure on the tire pressure, because drivers aren't checking them. And guess what, guys? It's summertime. You should absolutely make sure all of your pressure is even. Otherwise, you're gonna have a blowout on your truck or your trailer. And guess what? That could be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 hours. Even we've seen a 20-hour breakdown on the side of the road because that driver was way in rural America somewhere, and on a holiday or something, we just couldn't get service in there. So we're at the mercy of road calls and all that. So please do what you can to check your equipment and do your proper pre-trips and check your tire pressure. So
what's that mean? Take your baseball bat and go and thump the tire and say this is good, or?
I would at least, if not daily, I would regularly, several times a week, check your tire pressure, please, with a gauge, and just make sure it's good, and because that's going to help you in the long run, right? So, and don't take those shortcuts. Going random route. Try to stay on the main routes where there's services available and all that, because you take that shortcut and something happens, right? Things happen. We're on the road all day. Things happen, and so when something happens, then you're down for 5, 6, 7, 8 hours, and guess what? The time you saved by taking that 15-minute shortcut, you wasted your entire week's of productivity just sitting around.
My favorite was I saved 15 minutes, but spent 15 hours on a road call.
Yeah. So.
All right, well, we had some great questions this month, and we really appreciate all the feedback from our drivers, and we want to make sure we get those answers out to you as quickly as possible. But is there any other updates you guys want to mention?
What else we got going on here?
I guess you could say Lathrop, and we just graded out some of those potholes and stuff in the last couple of weeks to make it a smoother ride until we get.
Yeah, but it's just temporary till we get the construction going. So
just temporary, and then we did some dust control there to keep the dust down, because I know. We said, you get your truck washed on Mondays at Lathrop, but sometimes you roll into Lathrop, and by the time you're leaving, you got to get another truck wash. So it's just.
Yeah. So I would just say, hey, we're still growing. Like I said, we got a plan. We're getting some new business. There's pockets. A lot of times we're overbooked in areas. Sometimes there's pockets of being underbooked and short. We have to take some of those non-dropping hooks or some of those maybe freight that you normally don't see customers, and so just. For the most part, we're still, doing pretty darn good compared to a lot of other companies out there. And so, but we still need drivers. We're still adding trucks. We're still growing. So we need drivers that are, that are good drivers and that are willing to, appreciate their ride and take care of their equipment and want to join a good team here. So if you got drivers and friends and referrals and, out there, bring them on over and we can sure use some good drivers. And, it's because we're growing. And if there's issues, I would just say if there's issues and your miles are dropping or this, give us examples and as detailed as you can get. Send them in on work count and all that. We look at all those, and so send them in, and we'll try to get ahead of it right away. And if you see an issue with any, you just feel like you're not getting anywhere with your driver manager, which our driver managers I think do a great job, but occasionally, sometimes you never know when things happen. Who can they reach out to? Chris, what's the best route for them to make sure they feel like they're getting taken care of, and we are actually taking care of those situations?
Well, with work count, and all these questions we read today came directly from work count, but we read it every single day and take our feedback very seriously. So the driver managers are involved, the planners are involved, our leadership team is involved, everyone from driver services and recruiting gets those messages as well. So we take that feedback very seriously, and for the most part, it's honestly pretty positive, but there's some times where there's things we need to work on, and we want to do that. So thank you for doing it.
Yeah. So I would say good job, drivers. I mean, we're doing a lot of great things.
Great. Well, it's been great here in Lathrop. Nice spending time with you guys. Appreciate the agenda today, and we'll catch you next month.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't the warm and fuzzy, but we'll leave that to Jamie when he gets back in Pacific with you, right?
I'll hook up with him. Yep,
Yeah.
There we go. All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you. Be safe.
Wow, more great stuff. That was fantastic. I love to hear the discourse that's generated from all of our driver questions and to see them chat up and get some intel out to our driver force and our public, our supporters in the office and beyond. That was fantastic. Trucking isn't for everybody. It's hard work, right?
It is.
Ton of hard work. But it is for everybody, the work that they do. It's vital. It's key to our economy. It keeps the shelves stocked as they deliver freight to your favorite stores. If you're interested in joining our incredible team, give us a call, 844-424-3362.
Or that's 844-4-CHEEMA.
That's right. Or if you're ready to start your application, go right to it at teamcheema.com.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
That's right. Smash that like button, subscribe and follow us. Follow what's going on here at Cheema Freight Lines. On behalf of Jeff, Harmon, Harry, our IT team that does such a great job bringing this episode to you every month. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you next time.